Chapter 9, Mishnah 7. The previous Mishnah taught that if someone plants processed tevel of a species whose seed does not decompose, such as loaf, onions, and garlic, the new plants are prohibited even for casual consumption, just as the planted tevel was. The following Mishnah addresses the question of whether this restriction applies even in land owned by an idolater in Eretz Yisrael. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. If a Jew is weeding a field that was planted with bulbs of processed hasios, a category that includes loaf, onion, garlics, and other species whose seeds does not decompose, with an idolater in the idolater's land in Eretz Yisrael, even though the idolater's produce is tevel, the Jew may eat from the growths casually. This is because any produce that was processed by an idolater is tevel only according to rabbinic law. Since the tevel prohibition of the planted bulbs themselves is merely rabbinic, the sages ruled leniently in regard to their growths and allowed them to be eaten casually. The Mishnah returns to its discussion about planted truma. It deals with a case where edible plants, such as cabbage, that had been designated as truma became tameh and were then replanted. Young plants of truma that became tameh, if one replanted them, they become tahor, with regard to transmitting tuma to other things. But they are forbidden to be eaten even by a Kohen until he cuts off the edible parts of the plant, leaving only the inedible cores and roots. Once the edible parts regrow, they may be eaten by Kohanim. Rabbi Yehuda rules more strictly. Rabbi Yehuda says the plants are forbidden until he cuts off the edible parts, and then, once they have regrown, does so again. Only that which grows after the second cutting is permitted to Kohanim.